few weeks ago on Facebook, I made a post on there and I commented. I mentioned how it seemed there's a lot of people who seem to almost in a bragging fashion say that they're kind of too bad for God. That they say that they're too far gone. They've done too much bad in their lives. There's no coming back from it. But I'm here to say that that could not be further from the truth. Jesus was and is God. Despite what anyone may say, without getting too much into it, anyone would agree that Jesus of Nazareth was a real man, a real historical figure, but he was in fact divine God. And when he was living on this earth, he was the literal embodiment of God. And he had all the knowledge and all the power of God, yet it was all contained in the weakness and frailty of a human body. Now, in Christianity, we have images of Jesus on the cross. We have crucifixes all over the place. We have movies that depict it. We have stories about it. But it wasn't just some emotional moment. It wasn't just a death. It was a transfer of debts. It was God in a human body saying, I'm going to pay this debt that you owe me. You owe me for this. You owe me for so much. But it's okay. I'm going to pay for it. And it's true. We've all done things. We've all done things that we're not proud of, that are just not good, not right. Some are worse than others, in at least in the eyes of men. But in the eyes of God, all of them are worthy of hell. I know that's not a very popular thing to hear or for somebody to say, but facts are facts. But that's just the bad news. We celebrate Christmas every year in December to remember the birth of Jesus. The thing about it is, even before he entered the womb of Mary, it was the plan. The plan was for Jesus to die on that cross that he died on. It wasn't some spontaneous thing. It wasn't the result of political forces, though, God used those to move his plan along. God knew how bad people were. God knew how bad we could be to each other. He knew how much disregard we had and have for him. Yet, he still loved us. And he knew there was no way for us to save ourselves from hell. And so, he sent Jesus to take care of it. And so, when Jesus died on that cross, the debt that we all owe God for the bad things we've done, for all the ways that we have offended him, that was set up to have all that debt completely and irreversibly wiped away. But that was an offering set out. That was God reaching out his hand and saying, here I am. Come to me and that debt will be wiped away. And that's the decision we have to make. Jesus paid that debt that we could never hope to pay. It just think of the worst thing that you've ever done, and multiply it by 1,000,000, and now add another 1,000,000 just for good measure. Bad as that is, it's no match for the grace and forgiveness of God. When we come to Him and say, God, I'm yours, I'm all yours. And that's what it takes, is going to Him and saying, you paid my debt, now my life is yours. But it doesn't necessarily stop there, because so many times we'll go and we'll say, yeah, God, you forgave me of my sin. Here's me, here's my life, take it. But then we go back and we pick up those old sins and we start carrying them around again. And we can't be doing that. We have to let it go. We have to acknowledge the fact that that sin was taken away when we chose to follow Christ. That's what the term freedom in Christ means. Is that we're free from that sin. We're free from having to carry it around. We don't have to carry it around anymore. Yet so many times we want to. We just like it too much to want to leave it behind. We've grown so accustomed to it, so fond of it, that the thought of leaving it behind forever just seems horrifying to us. But we gotta let it go. I've heard this argument from some people. Well, not argument, but this I guess accusation. People will say, all those Christians, they walk around like they're perfect, like they've never done a thing wrong in their lives, like they're just perfect people. Well, there's kind of a reason for that. You see, for a Christian, for someone who is a follower of Christ, who has given their life to Him, who has chosen to live their life for His purposes, God does not see their sin. God sees Jesus' pureness and holiness. So, someone who has been forgiven, someone whose debt has been wiped away, God doesn't see the sin. So, when God looks at us, He sees us as if we've never sinned. Why should we act any different? Why should we act as if we're, still carrying around our sin when we're not and shouldn't be? God says that He forgives, and He even forgets our sin, to the point where He puts it, He literally puts it out of His mind, to where it's not even within His recollection anymore. As far as He's concerned, we have never sinned. And that's the amazing thing about God and His endless forgiveness. When a Christian sins, we just say, yeah, I messed up, I sinned. We go to God and we say, God, I screwed it up again. And we lay it there at His feet. We walk away from it, and we get on get on with our lives and never speak of it again. And that's how it works with God. Because when you have chosen to live your life for Him, you become basically adopted into His family. So it's like you're God's child. And, you know, like if you have kids and they do something wrong, you're not gonna like, yeah, you'll discipline them, you'll tell them, hey, you know, you shouldn't be doing that, but you're not gonna punish them for a mistake. Neither does God. He forgives when we mess up, but we can't keep carrying it around. We can't keep letting ourselves be defined by the sin that we commit, by the bad things that we do, because those things don't and should not define us. Because God's grace is what should be defining us. The song that I took the title of this video from, the chorus line says, Jesus paid it all to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, He washed it white as snow. Now picture the image of a perfectly white robe or other white garment. Let's say, you know, t-shirt, pants, dress, whatever. Something that's just the whitest white you can think of. Pure white cloth, material, whatever. Somehow gets a horrible blood stain on it. That's how it was with our lives. Our lives were stained up, dirty, just filth. Yet He is able to make it purest, cleanest it can be, cleaner than it has ever been. And for that, we owe Him our very lives. That is to say, that our existence on this earth should be to bring Him glory and bring fame to His name and His kingdom. Our goal for that should be, stealing another title from an album that I like, our goal should be to make God famous. And that's what I mean when I say living our lives for God. It's living your life in such a way that He is the main focus, that He is your primary motivation for everything that you do in your life. Every decision you make, every thing that you do is determined based on God and how it affects His glory and His reputation on this earth. And if kind of shift gears kind of abruptly here, if you feel like you're just too stained or too broken to be salvaged, you need to seriously rethink that. Because there is no one who is too broken or too far gone for God to save them. There is no sin that God cannot forgive. There is no amount of sin that God cannot forgive, because He is infinite and your sin is not. The key is going to Him and saying, okay, God, I'm all yours. And taking that sin and leaving it at His feet and saying, here, take it. He says, give it to me, I'll take it. And you leave it there. You turn around, you turn your back on it, you walk away, and you never speak of it again. That is what you gotta do. You gotta leave the sin, leave it at the feet of Jesus, leave it at the cross, leave it at the feet of God, and stop going back to it. Stop carrying it around.